And now we're recording the meeting. Hey everybody, as I was saying, my name is Dan Cerulli and I am a product manager at Google and member of the Istio steering committee. Yes, I think this is the first time we've had community meetings 3 weeks in a row. We had a special last week because of the announcement to the steering committee changes and the upcoming election. So we have a light agenda today. Mitch Connors is here from the Lifecycle Group, and he would like to talk a little bit about the Lifecycle Survey. And then I was just going to restate some of the things that we did last week on about the steering committee changes and the election that is about to happen for seats on the steering committee. Mitch, I saw you put Lifecycle Survey on the agenda. Since that's a new topic, we'll do this out of parliamentary order and go with new business first. Do you want to talk a little bit about the survey? Put the link up and see if we can get some people to fill that out. Mitch, are you there? Maybe Mitch is counting on not being first. Oh, there he is. I see you, but I don't hear you. Nope.
How about now?
Yes.
All right, sorry about that.
Sorry about throwing it to the top of the agenda without telling you.
That's all right. So the usability working group, test and release working group, and environments working group have all collaborated on a survey. The problem that the survey is trying to address is we suspect that a lot of people are running seriously old versions of Istio, sometimes in production, and we'd like to understand why. It could be that upgrading is just too expensive. It could be that people are not actually running these versions in production, that they're only being used in staging clusters, etc. So we've put together a survey for all things lifecycle related, and we would love if we could get a whole bunch of responses really from anybody who's using Istio in staging or in production. So I will be dropping the link in the chat. I am happy to answer any questions that you may have about what we're going to be doing with the survey data. It is anonymous. There is one full text answer section that is not anonymized. But other than that, your email addresses aren't collected or anything along those lines. Anyone have any questions about the survey?
I just dropped that in the chat, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll show it briefly so you have an idea of what it is. It's not very long. It asks you about versions of Istio that you're running. Asks you if you know if there are critical vulnerabilities in what you're running. We do ask about Kubernetes versions. This is important and is coming up. A little bit about where you're getting your support from and how you're doing your upgrades. It's short. It's 3 pages and probably not more than 5 minutes of work, I would guess. But it could be really, really helpful. So please do. I know that you started getting some responses earlier, but this is absolutely the kind of thing that the more the Lifecycle Working Group, the more responses they get, the better they're going to be able to understand how to help the community. So if you're running Istio in production or close to production, we'd like to hear these things. And it's one of the ways
to drive the roadmap for the next couple of releases around upgrades. So this is a great opportunity for users' voices to be heard.
And a good way to contribute to open source. As I'm always saying, not all open source is in code. This counts, absolutely. The other topic on the agenda today is steering committee changes and election. I'm going to take these on both at once and do one of my favorite things, which is steal someone else's slides. So if you were here last week, then you've seen these. This is an overview that Ram Vanam and Craig Box put together from IBM and Google, respectively, on the changes that we made to the steering committee charter and the resulting elections that we are going to have. And just a primer on the governance within Istio, a topic that gets a lot of discussion on the internet and is, I think, very misunderstood. We have two governing bodies. There's a steering committee and a technical oversight committee. The technical oversight committee obviously does technical oversight over the project. They weigh in on anything that can't be resolved in a working group. They set the general technical charter for the project. The TOC is comprised of individuals, people who have kind of earned their seat on a TOC via contribution to the product, people who are making technical contribution. And we've got a progression that people have made and are making from contributor to a working group lead to TOC. The most recent person who made that last jump from working group lead to TOC was Neeraj Potter from Aspen Mesh. And then we have a steering committee. The steering committee is the membership in that has always been allocated to companies, not to individuals. And the reason we have that difference is that to get on the TOC, we really do want you to reward people and who are leaders in the project and are proving their kind of importance and technical prowess in the project. Prowess is the wrong word, but leadership, I would say, is the right word. On the steering committee, we really do want to reward companies that are actively investing in the project. And by investing, I mean putting resources into the project. And there's different ways to measure that, but one convenient way is how many employees are they having work on the project itself. So one thing that we did want to do is make sure that the charter for a steering committee reflects the diversity we have on the project. The project was started by IBM and Google, and we made the seats on the steering committee originally. But over the last couple of years, we have seen a great growth in the number of companies contributing. And a lot of people, care deeply about the success of the project. A lot of companies are making bets on the project. We wanted to give voice to those companies. So the steering committee, which is in charge of administrative aspects of the project, things like running the website, things like creating working groups. Steering committee is also in charge of marketing for the project. And we wanted to get more companies involved there. So we kind of worked on this for a long time with the current members of the steering committee, which were all Google and IBM and Red Hat, Kevin Connor from Red Hat as well. And we had a goal in writing this new charter to ensure that we had a lot of companies getting their voices there. We wanted it to be companies who were investing a lot and companies who were participating a lot, even if they couldn't invest. And we wanted to, assuage the fears we've heard in the Twitter sphere and in the market that a single company controlled project is not good. So we wanted to make sure that those concerns were addressed. So you can read all about it. But we basically said there's two types of seats on the steering committee. One is what we're calling a contribution seat, and a contribution seat is allocated to a company. And we're going to measure contribution. We decided that we will reserve the right to change measurements over time because we don't want anything. If it appears that anything is being gamed, we won't want that to be a measure. But for now, we looked at a bunch of different ways to do it. And while there were more complicated ways to do it, it seemed that a simple and the more complicated ones didn't result in a better or different result even. So we just decided to go with merged pull requests over the last year. And when we did that, and we said we want at least 3 companies to earn contribution seats. So when we ran the formula, and it's a DAUNT formula, what we ended up with was Google, IBM, Red Hat, and Salesforce are the largest 3 contributors. And as you can see, Google ended up with 5 seats, IBM Red Hat with 3 seats, and Salesforce with 1. Both Google and IBM are taking a reduction by 1 seat from what they currently have on the steering committee. And the idea here is chop wood, carry water. The companies that are really investing in this project in the form of having developers spend company time on the project should have a voice in how the project is run and how the project is marketed. Bear in mind, this is not a technical voice because we're talking about the steering committee here. And then we created a new kind of seat called a community seat. These seats are the 4 more seats on the steering committee. And these are project members that have to be from other companies. If you have contribution seats, you're not eligible for community seats, and a company can only get 1 community seat. These seats will be voted on by the Istio community. So there are a lot of companies who are smaller, who don't have the resources that an IBM or a Google has to put into the project, that are very active contributors. And while the number of merged pull requests isn't as high, they're contributing to the project. They're contributing to the community, and many of these companies really are helping to build the ecosystem around Istio. And we feel like these seats are an opportunity for them to get involved in the steering committee and help out and have a voice in again how we market the project and how we run the project. And that leads us to an election. So as you saw, those seats are up for election, and we are going to run an election annually for those 4 seats. We do have election officers, Craig and Ron, both of whom were in this meeting last week, but neither of whom could come this week. They'll be running the election, and we're running it in the way that many open source elections are running. We're using Condorce, I believe, is the election format, online voting. Who is eligible to be a candidate? Any project member who works for anyone who's not IBM, Google, or Red Hat, or subsidiaries. Red Hat is or Salesforce, because Salesforce got the 3rd one. You can nominate yourself by simply creating a pull request. I'll have a link that I'll post soon. You can nominate yourself, and we will have an election. The voting process is anyone who has had a pull request merged in the last 12 months can vote. And anyone who has not had a pull request merged but has been contributing to the project can fill out a voting exception form. We on the steering committee will go through those, and it's fine if someone's been out there doing other things, contributing to the community, not in the form of merged pull requests. That's fine. And by the way, merged pull requests don't have to be written in Go. Pull requests in Markdown that improve our docs are always welcome as well. And we're going to use, as I said, Condorce ranking. These elections are run in kind of standard ways. Kubernetes, CNCF does them. We're going to do something very similar here. And the top 4 candidates from unique companies will win the seats. So the schedule is these times, I believe, are all 000 UTC. So September 6th is Sunday. So as of midnight Sunday morning, the candidate bios and voting exception forms are due. So that's Saturday afternoon here where I am. If you are interested in joining and helping out the community in this way, please do go submit a pull request. It's under Istio community. A week hence, we will start the election, and we'll run the election for just under 2 weeks, and then announce the winners late in September. And that's what we have. There is a Slack channel that you can ask questions, but of course, I'm happy to entertain questions right now as well. So does anyone have any questions about either the changes we made to the steering committee charter, the differences between steering and TOC, or questions about the election process itself? Oh, hey, Kevin.
So I have a quick question for you. So I've been
Yes.
talking to a number of people who are interested in putting themselves forward for this. Obviously, they're quite happy with other companies. And they're under the impression that Sunday is the deadline rather than Saturday. So can we actually clarify what zero UTC?
Yeah, I can clarify, and I can clarify that. Hold on, just did the wrong thing here.
I suspect that's probably going to be a confusing issue for a number of people.
I will see what I can do about. This is how I find this stuff. Is it in here? No, that's not it. This will have it. Yeah, this is looking, I can see how this is confusing because 000 UTC September 6th is 5 p.m. PDT, but it's 5 p.m. PDT Saturday. We may have to talk about this in the steering committee tomorrow. You won't be in the steering committee tomorrow, will you?
Yeah, I will be. Yeah.
Oh, you will be. Okay.
I can
Yes,
bring it up there.
I think the intention here was 000 September 6th, but I can see how anyone could look at this and be confused because I don't think this table is clear. And I can't say 100% sure about that. We should, yeah, I think we should clarify this in steering tomorrow. It makes me think one of the comments I got from one of the partners who said they're planning on submitting as well, they might be confused about this. So why don't we bring this up in steering tomorrow and consider bumping that deadline back by 17 hours because of the unclear communication. You think that's a good idea?
Yeah, I do. I suspect that many people are reading that and thinking that it's midnight on those dates. So
right.
the end of day Sunday.
Right. I think you are. You know what? Or I could be misinterpreting it. I actually don't know.
Well, either way, there's confusion. So
right, exactly. This was written confusing enough. Okay, let's take that up in steering. We can announce via the usual ways, Slack, discuss, and Twitter. That's a really good point, and a note going forward to make sure that the days and times are all lined up and communicated very clearly. Thank you for bringing it up, though. I would hate for someone to miss it because of a time zone problem, or a communications problem. All right, I assume some of you are quiet because you're typing up your bios right now. That is really cool. Let me show you right now where the am I in a particular pull request here? This is the in community steering elections. There's elections 2020, and this is the folder where you simply create a markdown file that has your bio. You can see we do have a couple of nominations already. They're strong. they're both really good. I don't know both of them personally, but yeah, I'm very excited. And I will just say, kind of philosophically, we on the steering committee have worked really hard on designing this process, and for as much bad kind of PR or tweets I think that we get about not being open, I don't know of a single other project that is working this hard to strike the right balance between getting rewarding individuals who contribute, rewarding companies who really are contributing in the way that companies do. We have, as I said, we have 12 members on TOC. It represents 4 different companies, and we have, we will have 7 different companies represented on steering committee in just a number of weeks. We're very happy about that, and we're very proud of the work that we've done to ensure that that no company, and by the way, the other thing I guess that is interesting in the steering committee charter changes is no company can ever have more than 5 of the 13 seats, and most votes on the steering committee do need a 60% majority, and what we're trying to do there is ensure that no company can ever control this project, again, despite what kind of PR you hear. And I think this contrasts to, I would say, every other service mesh which has exactly one company on the controlling body, whatever they call their controlling body, whether it's super maintainer or oversight committee. Everybody else is a one company show. So while
and what's the breakdown on the TOC company wise? You said there was 4 companies. I was just curious. Do you have a breakdown of the numbers?
You know what? I don't, but I will. If I go here, I bet I can figure this all out. I just want to be on master here.
I think the TOC page itself includes that.
Yes.
So it's Google, IBM, Tetrate, and Aspen Mesh.
And Aspen Nearest from Aspen Mesh, right?
Okay.
So you see 3 Googlers, 2 IBMers, 1 from Tetrate and 1 from Aspen Mesh, and everybody here is a long time contributor to the project, either from its founding or since. And again, this is this progression goes from kind of committer to working group lead to TOC.
Okay, thanance. Yeah, I mean, I've been working with Niraj. I do a lot on the telemetry side, so I'm aware of how involved he has been for a while.
Right, he's great. He's great, and we're very happy to have Aspen Mesh on board. Okay, so I think that's all we had on the agenda today. This is a big deal. So here we are. I think it's steering elections 2020. Yes, so this is the place. If you or someone from your company is interested, you can nominate yourself. You can nominate someone else from your company. We did get a question: can more than one person from a company be nominated? Absolutely, there's nothing wrong with that. More than one person from a company can't win a seat because we are trying to get corporate diversity here. But we're, anyone can be nominated. So please feel free to do those nominations. And that's all we have on the agenda today. Are there any other questions anyone has? Okay, well, if not, we will stop this recording and end the meeting. Very excited to be going through this process. Is there a way to add a countdown timer for the submission deadline? We could do that on the Istio.io site. I don't know if we could easily do it in this official thing. Although there is a countdown timer mechanism on the Istio.io site because we used to do it for releases. I'll see if someone can dust that off and put it on for the election. Okay, so look for an announcement tomorrow with a clarification on when those things are due. I think we're going to have to make it. We're going to have to make it the later, as I said, 17 hours later than I originally thought, which is fine and give people time. Okay, off to write your mark down, everyone, if you're interested and if your company doesn't already have seats. Really looking forward to this progress. Really looking forward to October when we have a bunch of fresh faces on the steering committee weekly meeting. So thank you for your time today, and keep meshing things up. Bye, everyone.
Thanks.